Hey, insiders. I'm Andrea, and welcome in the room. It's a space for those of us that are looking for a reset without judgment, a space where you already belong, and a space where we take time to deep dive into the kinds of conversations that actually shift how we think and navigate life. But one thing we don't do here in the room is stay stuck. We acknowledge what's going on, we learn from it, and then we are moving right along. So if that's something that you're interested in, feel free, subscribe, take a seat, and take up space. Let's move. So let me be honest with you for a second. If you are sitting around waiting to feel motivated to do something, that might be exactly the reason you keep getting stuck. Because if we're honest, motivation comes and goes. Some days you have it, and some days you don't. Some days you wake up ready to conquer the world. Other days you're tired, distracted, overwhelmed, and sometimes even irritated. And if your progress depends on whether or not you feel inspired to do something for the day, then that progress will always be inconsistent. That means every time motivation leaves, you feel like you have to start over. And that cycle is exhausting. But you know what most people do? They get excited, they start making plans, they set the goals, buy their planner, and then life happens. Work gets stressful, kids need something, your energy drops, something unexpected comes up, and suddenly the plan fades out. That's when people typically start to blame themselves. Some of the things we tell ourselves: why can't I stay consistent? Why do I keep stopping after I've started? Or even sometimes, what's wrong with me? But if we're honest, the issue isn't that you're lazy, it's that you're operating from emotions instead of a system that actually supports the structure that you're trying to sustain. That is a major difference. We've all been there before. I know I have. I used to think that motivation was this key to everything. I thought that successful people wake up inspired every day, energized, and just clear minds and ready to dominate the world by breakfast, right? If I would chase motivation, I felt motivated, I was productive. If I wasn't, then obviously you can determine what happened after that. I'd make the plans, buy the notebooks, and create systems, talk big and dream bigger, right? And for a while, it worked until it doesn't. Because sometimes what we forget most is motivation is a mood. Motivation is not something that is expected to be carried out at all times. And moods are unstable. There are days I felt amazing, and there are other days I felt discouraged, mentally just tired, or just emotionally off as a whole. And on those days, it's typically when everything stopped. Goals got postponed. Anything that I had promised myself was delayed with no intent of continuation. And eventually, I had to admit something uncomfortable. I wasn't failing because I lacked talent. I was failing because I was depending on feelings. If I felt good, I moved. If I didn't, I stalled. And that became my cycle. And then one day I was just thinking about motivation as a whole. I had realized that motivation had become an excuse dressed up as an inspiration. I kept saying things like I was waiting until I felt ready, ready to start, ready to commit, ready to be consistent. And just a number of those things just continued to recycle as my norm. But what I had to learn is that discipline doesn't wait for you to get ready. Discipline gets up even when your mood is wrong. Discipline shows up when nobody's clapping for you. Discipline keeps going long after the motivation has disappeared. So I had to change one question. I stopped asking, do I feel like it? And I replaced it with, what needs to be done? And for me, that question changed everything because discipline is not glamorous. It doesn't come with the hype music. It doesn't always feel exciting. Sometimes it can be repetitive, it can be inconvenient, and oftentimes discipline is just plain boring. but it builds trust. Every time I kept a promise to myself on a hard day, it made me stronger. Every time I followed through when I didn't feel like it, I gained confidence. Every time I chose consistency over comfort, I changed my identity. I stopped seeing myself as someone who tries, and I became someone who actually does. So I want you to remember this when you're trying to build consistency. Here are 3 practical takeaways that will help you begin this journey of preparing and creating the discipline that will help you shape the journey. The first one, start smaller than you think you need to. Don't focus on everything. Focus on doing something, just anything. If you're deciding to be more disciplined in your workout, maybe you decide you're going to do a 5-minute walk. If you're deciding that you want to build consistency, maybe you take a 10-minute walk daily instead of trying to accomplish a full 30-minute workout. Or maybe for others, it's just 5 push-ups for the day. Maybe you want to get back into writing, so you decide I'm going to write 1 page a day. Or maybe you take it even smaller and say I'm going to write 1 paragraph every day. Small done consistently beats big done occasionally. Number 2, decide your standards in advance. You do not want to be in a constant battle of renegotiating with yourself daily. Go ahead and set the baseline ahead of time. If you're going to start the workout, then say every day after work, I'm going to pack my workout bag so that I can be prepared to work out immediately after work. Or maybe you decide in the morning time, I'm going to put my shoes right beside my bed so that I can go for that 10-minute walk to start my day. Whatever it is, again, create standards ahead of time so that you're not trying to continue to negotiate with yourself as to whether or not this is the right thing to do today. Pre-decisions remove emotional debate. Number 3, stop tracking feelings. Track completion. Your mood is unreliable data. Your actions tell the truth. Measure what you are actually completing and not how you felt today. And those are my 3 takeaways. So today, stop asking yourself, do I feel like it? And let's replace that with, am I the type of person who follows through? Because motivation can start the engine, but discipline is what actually drives the distance. Motivation visits, but discipline, it lives here. If this conversation hit home for you today and you are done with the consistent restart cycle, drop the word discipline in the comment. I'm interested in seeing those of us that are shifting our mindsets today. Also, subscribe so you can be a part of the next conversation and keep building the best version of yourself that actually follows through. Thank you for showing up in the room today. And remember, there's never a question about whether or not you belong here. So keep taking up space, and I'll see you in the next one. Let's move.